Good morning. You're watching Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Wibo. Today is midweek edition, October 29, 2025. And of course, on today's show, we're looking at newspaper review, what the national newspapers are saying, including Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. We'll go to Leadership and see what it's offering in its menu today. Leadership's leading story says government moves minimum capital threshold for power distributors license renewal. Government moves minimum capital threshold for power distributors license renewal. Talking about DISCOs, that is distribution companies, power distribution companies, which are called DISCOs. Government moves minimum capital threshold for power distributors license renewal. And the story continues on page 4 of Leadership. And atop the leading story, we have revocation of Soyinka's US visa sparks mixed reactions. The story is on page 4 of Leadership. Reps to probe $25 million FIFA CAF grants to NFF. And Wike unveils Abuja's 5-pillar smart city plan at Dubai Summit. Developing Nigeria's livestock industry, our priority, coming from the minister. Concerns as court orders takeover of Nest Oil, over $1 billion debt. Hardship, Makinde forced Yiwada's blanket criticism of governors. Of course, yesterday the papers were agog, national papers, that is, with the news of coming from the APC, the ruling All Progressive Congress Party's chairman, who alleged that governors are not doing enough to the benefit of their citizens. And the reaction to that, the Oyo State Governor Makinde is faulting that response over what he described as blanket criticism of governors. That story runs on page 4 of Leadership. Makinde forced Yiwada's blanket criticism of governors. We move ahead towards the masthead of Leadership newspaper. And on the business boss, we have Lagos Edo top debt per capita list as state's liabilities hit 10.57 trillion naira coming from budget. Perhaps we'll take some excerpts from that business story. Lagos and Edo have emerged as Nigeria's most indebted states per capita, with each citizen owing more than 100,000 naira in state debt, according to Budget's 2025 State of States report released on Tuesday. It was revealed that Enugu State is Nigeria's most fiscally viable subnational government. According to Budget's 2025 State of States ranking, Enugu State ranks as the state most likely to fund its operating expenses exclusively from internally generated revenue, IGRO. According to the report, Enugu, Lagos, Abia, Anambra, and Kwara are the 5 states most capable of surviving independently of allocations from the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC. Conversely, Yobe, Benue, Jigawa, Kogi, and Imo the story continues on page 7 of Leadership. And Imo ranked as the least viable states. Anambra State emerged as Nigeria's best performing state, overtaking Lagos to claim the top spot for the first time in the fiscal sustainability rankings. Rivers State, a consistent top 5 performer, was dropped from this year's edition following a state of emergency that rendered its financial data inaccessible. The 2025 edition marks 10 years of Budget's subnational fiscal assessment with the theme A Decade of Subnational Fiscal Analysis, Growth, Decline, and Middling Performance. Excerpts from the business story on the cover of Leadership this Wednesday. Lagos Edo top debt per capita list as state's liabilities hit 10.57 trillion naira. That analysis was carried out by Budget. Of course, for more, you have to log in to the website of Leadership for continuation of that leading story, business story. On the advertorial above the masthead of Leadership, of course, is a developing story between First Bank and GHL, owned by publisher of this day newspaper, Nduka Bagbena. First Bank vindicated. Arbitration tribunal dismisses GHL's $718 million claim. The tribunal's order for GHL to pay First Bank's arbitration costs within 30 days underscores the bank's strong position in the dispute and paves the way for further action to recover $230 million owed to the bank. That story continues on page 7 of Leadership. Of course, it's an editorial and is also on the other papers we have on our lineup today. From there, we move to page 3 of Leadership, where we have the permanent stand. Our stand. Today's stand is on the coup scare and matters arising. The coup scare and matters arising. Today's stand in Leadership. From the stand, we go to the back page of Leadership for Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa. And today she's writing on a memory of forgetting #EndSARS 5 years after. Of course, there was a commemoration to that effect in Lagos on October 20 this year. A memory of forgetting #EndSARS 5 years after. Today's column with Olufunke Baruwa. Before we leave the column, let's take a quote from the column. The message of October 20 was chilling. Citizen protest, even when peaceful, could be treated as an existential threat to power. Before we leave the back page, let's visit Ghana Must Go. And of course, the news this time is coming from the Plateau State Governor, Mutwang. He says he's under serious pressure to join APC. And of course, Ghana Must Go told him in response, resist by yielding. Mutwang, over to you. It's on that note to conclude review of Leadership newspaper this Wednesday. For more, log in to the website of Leadership newspaper. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup this Wednesday. And let's move to Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune says Anambra election violence will be met with strong, uncompromising response. NSA. Police to deploy 45,000 officers. Amopita justifies extension of collection of PVCs. These are kickers to the leading story on today's Nigerian Tribune. Anambra election violence will be met with strong, uncompromising response coming from the NSA, that's his National Security Advisor. Growing concern over CBN's bid to control Nigeria's fixed income market. Scientists turn flower fragrance into mosquito killer. This is the head news on today's Nigerian Tribune. And US revokes Soyinka's visa. Reds probe NFF over alleged misuse of FIFA CAF grants. Banning Kirby Stadium in focus. We have received threats from terrorists to bomb National Assembly, Reps Committee Chairman. And that also concludes review of front headline stories on Nigerian Tribune this Wednesday. For more, log into the website of Nigerian Tribune. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup this Wednesday, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun says Soyinka shocked by US visa revocation, says he has been asked to reapply. That story continues on page 6 of Daily Sun. Soyinka shocked by US visa revocation. Still on the cover of Daily Sun newspaper, over 170 foreigners apply for Nigerian citizenship. State of States 2025, Enugu emerges likely state to survive independent of FAC allocation. Still on that budget report. Lagos, Abia, Anambra, Kwara completes top 5. Anambra, Ribadu promises rabid, uncompromising response to troublemakers. National Assembly faces security threats, says Reps panel chair. And lastly, beside the masthead of Daily Sun, proceed of crime, Reps seek non-conviction for future whistleblowers protection. And that also concludes today's review of Daily Sun newspaper. For more, log into the website of Daily Sun. Hurricane Tinubu, Taraba, Plateau, Adamawa governors face defection dilemma. Just what we just read from Ghana Must Go on Leadership back page. Hurricane Tinubu, Taraba, Plateau, Adamawa governors face defection dilemma. Mutwang just said that he's under pressure to defect to APC. Kefas Mutwang's political realignment looms. Fintri host grand planned defection on settled state APC leaders. Kicker to that story on The Punch. Coup controversy. Military interrogates MD, raids ex-governor's house. Of course, there was a trending story yesterday that the DSS raided the house of Timipriye Sylvia and arrested the brother. That's the trending story. How true is it? Nobody's in the know. Senate set to greet new service chiefs today. Abdulrazak receives 23 kidnapped victims rescued by military. Vote buying won't decide Anambra election coming from the new INEC chair, Amupitan. Hidden assets, court rules Abba Kyari has case to answer. States to earn over 4 trillion naira yearly from VAT reforms. Beside the masthead of the Punch, visa cancellation, why I snubbed U.S. Embassy summons, Shoyinka. And lastly, on the cover of the Punch, enrollees stranded as NHIA server failure drags into weeks. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Enrollees stranded as the National Health Insurance Act server failure drags into weeks. And that brings to a close review of front headline stories on the Punch newspaper. For more, log in to the website of the Punch newspaper. On the Daily Times newspaper cover main story, 45,000 police officers to secure Anambra governorship election, coming from IGP. VAT stays to earn more 4 trillion naira annually from 2026. Oyedele. US revokes Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka's visa. Senate to screen new service chiefs today. Federal government prioritized made in Nigerian goods for ECOWAS free trade liberalization scheme. Nigeria's 5G revolution stores as affordability and infrastructure lag behind. And atop the masthead of the Daily Times, Nigeria imposes $11.5 security levy on international flight tickets. Federal government vows strict vetting as 170 foreigners apply for Nigerian citizenship. These are the leading stories on today's The Daily Times newspaper cover. Don't forget to log into the website of the Daily Times for continuation of these headline stories. We head up to the next paper we have on our lineup this Wednesday, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian says election year to test Nigeria's reform momentum, growth, recovery. Manufacturing endangered as sector shares 18,935 jobs in first half 2025. Reps raise alarm over terrorist threat to bomb National Assembly. Part also rocks APC as leaders split over Moved Wang's defection. Obi worries about drug trafficking through courier services. Minister, The Guardian, partner on national youth reorientation. Local contractors accuse federal government of withholding 760 billion naira payment, threat and protest. Nigeria among least connected by air despite huge potential. And that also concludes the review of front headline stories on The Guardian this Wednesday. For more, log into the website of The Guardian newspaper. Well, it's on this note we conclude the first half of today's program. On the second half shortly, we'll conclude today's Inside Nigeria. We don't really have trendy story like we normally do, bring trendy stories and trendy videos on the second half of the program. So we just have to end and draw the curtain on today's Inside Nigeria. Don't forget to log into the website of Leadership for continuation of these headline stories. My name is Winifred Webo. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio.